Today, Scripulous Fingore is not real and cannot hurt you. Or is he? This is CheckPoint. What's up? It's CheckPoint.
What are you doing, a casual thing today?
Yeah, I figured nobody wants to stand on ceremony these days. Just, what's up? Here's news.
Awesome. I'm going to start letting myself go. Let me begin this story with a public service announcement. Scripulous Fingore is not real and cannot hurt you. See, a lot of Nintendo fans have been sharing unusual cameos by Fingore in several different Nintendo properties. The first instance was Twitter user @CutVideoGame, who shared a picture of an unused ghost character in New Super Mario Bros. DS. It was accompanied with the statement, quote, "When asked about the enemy in an interview, Miyamoto disregarded the question, seeming unusually upset," end quote. But again, I reiterate, Scripulous Fingore is not real and cannot hurt you. More Nintendo fans got in on the fun by sharing their own images pulled from other games like Super Mario 64 DS, Paper Mario Color Splash, Super Mario All-Stars, and even Yoshi's Island, with remarkable care paid to integrating Fingore into the appropriate art style of each game. But I say once more, Scripulous Fingore is not real and cannot hurt you. The meme has taken on a life of its own, what with multiple artists creating their own fan art, including mods for games like Friday Night Funkin'. While it may not have the raw erotic appeal of Bowsette, it's quite refreshing to see that sometimes the internet doesn't have to run on pure, unadulterated thirst. And please remember, Scripulous Fingore is not real and cannot hurt you.
Google, the search engine company whose search engine became the search engine to such an extent that searching for something online is casually referred to as Googling, eat shit Alta Vista, has finally added a search bar to Google Stadia. Yes, 16 months into Stadia's existence, and only now is it getting a search bar from the search bar company. Look, everyone's ripping on Google for this, and so will we. Am I surprised it took them this long to add search? Yes, but then I'm also surprised Stadia hasn't already been installed on a smart fridge or a self-driving car. I guess once they finally crossed the Rubicon of 100 available games, they figured this was the right time to let people navigate more usefully, which is why they're also letting you sort your game library now. When Google kills a product, do they give it a maritime burial in San Francisco Bay? Is that what those barges were for? Remember when Google had mystery barges? Anyway, I'm not wishing for the death of Stadia. I don't need to waste wishes on things I know will happen.
Microsoft is going to start taking a smaller cut of revenue for games sold via the Microsoft Store. Starting in August, though why not sooner is beyond me, a game sold through Microsoft's marketplace will get 88% of the revenue, which is both up from the current 70% and will then be in line with the Epic Games Store. For contrast, Steam is still holding at 70%, which is typical of most mobile game storefronts, and an amount that Epic in particular has been very vocally against, though on Steam, a publisher gets a bigger revenue cut if their game sells more, which is why Microsoft referred to this new 88% model as a, quote, no strings attached revenue share. Worth noting, however, that this only affects PC games. Any Xbox games sold digitally through the Microsoft Store will still only get the existing 70% revenue cut. So, hurrah, said the 5 people who sell PC games through the Microsoft Store instead of Epic or Steam.
You still like Mario, right? Right? Nintendo wants to make sure. After making such a big deal about the Year of Mario and then taking away all the Year of Mario stuff, do you like Mario or do you like Mario? No, that's not, as in, do you really like Mario? Nintendo sent out a survey to some players, mostly asking for feedback on the My Nintendo missions, but it did include a question on player perception of the Plumber Man. Specifically, how did participating in the Super Mario Bros. 35th anniversary influence your perception of Mario? With the options, I still like Mario, I love Mario even more, I no longer care for Mario, I never cared about Mario, and, my favorite, I am tired of Mario at the moment. That last one has real, will no one rid me of this meddlesome priest vibes, like definitely spoken by someone on a chaise volunteering, I have ennui for Mario. His bourgeois struggles to rescue the monarchy bore me. I don't know how I feel about the guy Nintendo. He's got the power in this situation. How does he feel about me? Don't encourage a parasocial relationship between me and a cartoon plumber. What about you, Beach? How do you feel about Mario? Luigi? Waluigi.
Wah!
I'm sorry I asked.
Coming up, the year of Mario is over, but the Mario Party is still bumping because Nintendo just released an update that lets you play online. The game came out 2.5 years ago. We wanted this then, we needed this March 2020. Why now? Guess it's time to reconnect with some old friends I want to lose.
How fast can you hit the buttons on a controller?
Definitely not 16 times a second, which is like the record. Is that not the record?
Well, so there's a story that we didn't cover about a brand new way to play tournament level Tetris. Did you read this article?
No, I did not.
Oh man,
I heard something about hyper tapping, and I was just like,
so hyper tapping exists. So prior to now, prior to this amazing revelation, there's two ways to play Tetris on the NES.
Right.
One is it's DAS. I forget what it stands for, but it's basically playing it the way the man intended,
right?
Which is that if to move Tetramino left or right, you hold the D-pad down and it goes do.
Okay.
Right. Then came hyper tapping, which is where you
tap.
So
you move over faster.
So that it's just the way that the game works. Holding it down doesn't move as quickly as tapping the thing. Mm-hmm. But a human being's like single digit can only tap so quickly. The hyper tapping is not, as
there's a
hyper.
limit.
Yeah. So there's a new system. I watched a whole video on this. There was a man who did arcade high score in speed runs, and on an arcade cabinet he would do finger rolling by rolling all of his fingers across one button. He could get more inputs per minute.
Right.
But you can't do that with an NES D-pad.
Too tiny.
You can't hold it in an appropriate way. And so what people have started doing is that they keep one digit on the D-pad, and then they drum their fingers on the back of the controller to
cause it to rock up and down
rapidly rock into the finger or the thumb.
Right.
Faster than you can raise and lower a single thumb. And then they combined with like unique ways of holding it for like which fingers you have on it.
Yeah.
It's theoretically, they're getting up to, 20 hertz of
20 times a second
of controller input to move their Tetraminos left or right on the thing.
So fascinating thing is that way back in the day, I think it was HAL Labs put out either HAL or Hudson. It's always an H thing. I can never get them right, but I think
it was
the
B.
That's the thing is I can't quite remember. It might have been the B, it might have been a Hudson thing, but I thought it was HAL Labs. But somebody put out a fake controller thing that was essentially just a bar you held in your hand, and it had an LCD on it that counted. And what you did was you tapped the buttons, and it would count how fast you could input something in a second. So it would like count you in 3, 2, 1, go, and then you would tap,
right. And
it would count over a certain amount of time, or it would just count in a second, or whatever it would do. And there was a guy who could input 16 times a second on this controller. And it was a weird kind of show-offy thing to do, to be like, how fast can you do whatever? And that was accepted, I think, for a while as the record. That was the fastest anybody could actually generate inputs, like human-wise. So if you're talking 20 hertz, that's 20 times a second. That beats that record.
Yeah, one of the fastest people has this like seating arrangement where they have one of their legs sort of crossed such that their foot is like near their lap.
All right,
and then they brace the controller against their heel, so that as like a way to hold it,
right?
So that then they can have one hand on the correct buttons and the other hand just doing the drumming, and they go real fast.
And is this upping scores?
Oh yeah,
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Hey, it works.
it's the biggest breakthrough in tournament level Tetris in ages.
Can't wait until they bring this to Mario.